love that song. Just this evening, we were out canvassing in Prior Park. Went by a house and a little child looked at me and said, wait, you're Sandra Husbands? I said, yes. I said, is your mom home? Says, no, she's out. I said, okay, well, let me leave a message for her. So then all of a sudden the kids started to chant, BLP, BLP, we voted BLP. And they were just shouting up and down the neighborhood. They voted BLP. Even the little children know. Even the little children know that what we voting this time is BLP, because the Bible tells us a little child shall lead them. Shall lead them. And tonight I bring greetings to you from St. James South. I bring greetings to the good people of St. Michael West, the good people of St. Michael Central, St. Michael East. Are y'all in the house? Let me hear you. All right. You're giving full support to the Barbados Labour Party candidates because we are working for a better tomorrow. A better tomorrow. What I want to talk about tonight is something that is very dear to my heart. I'm going to ask you to bear with me as I speak about this matter, because the heart that beats inside of my body beats for a better Barbados. There is an evil under the sun that must be corrected in this country. Our country's history has brought us from the plantation, brought us from slavery, has brought us into independence, brought us into adult suffrage, and brought us on to this moment of 2013. But this particular evil still flourishes under the sun here in Barbados. Slavery was probably one of the most bitter experiences that our foreparents ever experienced. And one of the unfortunate legacies of that slave period is the tendency that when someone does us wrong, to zip our lips and say nothing, to become afraid and intimidated by an oppressor. One of the legacies that we have brought from that experience is to become afraid of those with power. And so we have been trained over time not to speak up and not to speak out. And the word tells us clearly that one of the things you have to do is to speak up and speak out. There's a quotation that says that evil flourishes when good men do nothing and say nothing. And our experience has taught us to tolerate a lot of evil around us, to tolerate when people do us wrong and not to speak. And what it does, it emboldens people to continue to do wrong and continue to do worse. And we mutter under our breath rather than get up and say something and face it and deal with it. We mutter and say, better the devil you know than the devil you don't know. Sometimes you got to hold the light for the devil to see. But there are things that are wrong in this country. And unless the citizens of this country get up and say enough is enough, until they get up and say that we will not tolerate this as a people, that within our democracy this must not happen, unless we get up and be bold and use our voices and speak, the evil will continue to flourish. It happens every day. A man comes to your house. You want something repaired. You want something built. You tell him what you want done. You tell him the quality you want. He comes and does as he likes. charges you for it. And when you say, but this is not what I want, well, mistress, if you want it changed, you got to come again. And we swallow that. We let that be okay. We quarrel and bite about it to the neighbors, to our friends on the phone, but we will never look at that person and say, this is not acceptable. And so we encourage mediocrity in our society because we will not speak up when things are wrong. I remember as a child going to the supermarket, and if you pick up an item that was out of date, it was expired. If you took up something that was bad, it was your tough luck. You could not get back a penny. Daft lick you, and your money went down the drain. Barbadians muttered under their breath, but they never got up and said something. Enough is enough. And so you embolden people to oppress us. Whenever that happens, it means that it costs you more to take care of your life because people do not do what they're supposed to do and do not honor the contract between the consumer and the seller. And we always come out at the wrong end of the stick. And this happens whether we're interacting with professionals, interacting with big businesses, small businesses, interacting with each other. We tolerate the oppression, and the oppressor becomes emboldened and feels he can do you more and more wrong because they know you will say nothing. And when you do that, as people rise to positions of political power, they feel emboldened to do certain things and treat you with contempt because they feel you don't have the courage to get up, stand up and say, this is wrong and we are not tolerating it. And this is something that eats at me because I know that we could lose our democracy. I know that we could lose the wonderful life we have if we do not learn to stand up to people who are oppressing us. It is not enough to mutter under our breath, but we have to find the courage of numbers. We have to find the courage deep inside of our spirit and get up and say, this must stop. And there are two things I want to speak about tonight that all of you out here know it is happening. You know it is going on. You mutter under your breath. You talk it with your neighbor. You talk it on the telephone. But we're not raising our voices in unison to say, we will not tolerate it. One of the biggest transgressions that have been perpetrated against the Barbadian people is what has passed for drug reform in this country. And we allow a minister of health to get up every day across the television and across the newspapers to try to put across to the population that he is working ever so hard, that the drug reform only had a few issues and people are quite satisfied and it is not a problem and we have achieved the objective and we have saved $24 million. And really in truth, the people who are muttering and complaining, those are only political people. But there is an evil being perpetuated under the sun that is affecting our grandmothers, affecting our sons and daughters, affecting our neighbors, affecting our spouses, because there's an evil that has been perpetrated and we need to raise our voice against it. Across this country, we now have citizens who are given medication via the formulary that is not working for them. It is not working. It is making them ill. Just this evening when I was out canvassing, an old man came to me and said, I need to speak with you. I said, in a hurry right now. I'm trying to see his man. Madam, I need to speak to you right now. I said, okay. I stopped what I was doing. I went into his home. He brought out all the medication to me. He said, this medication is killing me. I spoke with a nurse because I was telling her that I was taking the medication and I'm feeling ill. I'm feeling worse. All the time I'm taking it, I'm feeling badly. The nurse looked at it and said, listen to me. Don't take that. Go to your doctor. Stop taking that. That is not working for you. The medication was making him ill. I've had people come to me, doctors have sent reports to me and have outlined that there's a set of medication that has been distributed in Barbados that has been expired and has been given to the population. It is a terrible thing. We cannot do this. This must not happen. It is wrong. And we must speak against it. It is our lives that is being affected. We have to investigate these things and see if they're true and make sure that things like that do not happen. When things like this happen, it affects the population and we must not be silent about it. We have a drug reform program that has taken from the formulary a number of medications that are very effective, but they have been replaced with less effective drugs. And it is not managing or controlling the disease that people are coping with. And this will put their health at risk. It is important that we speak and raise our voices. All of you out here know somebody that is taking medication that is not working for them. Let me see your hands if you have heard of somebody who is taking medication that is not working for them. It's not good. And that is why you have to arise and begin to use your voice. Otherwise, the other people who are not confronted with the issue will feel that all is well when it is not well. It isn't well. The other problem we have with the drug reform program, it was very badly done. You have a minister who is very quick to get up and speak, get up and make pronouncements, share opinions, and behave as if the sharing of his opinions helped to make health care better. There are 66 nurses who are not there at the hospital any longer. And now the remaining nurses are overworked, they're stressed, they're tired, and patients are not getting the care that they need. They're not. And some of them are breaking down and having to take time off because they are stressed out. And yet you can hear, oh, we filled all the posts and the posts are good. When in truth, in fact, right now, 66 nurses are missing from the hospital, and this is endangering the quality of care that is being given to our patients at the QEH. Those of us who have money, we can go to a private facility and pay for care. But what about the poor people of this country? What about the people whose income will not allow them to go and get private care? What about the people right here in Bank Hall? What about the people in Water Hall? What about the people who do not have the means to go and get private care? Is it okay for those of us who can get private care to say nothing? I am saying no. That there is an evil under the sun that must be stopped, and it can only be stopped by the raising of the voices of Barbadians to say, we will not tolerate that. It is wrong. It is wrong to have a situation in our hospital where people are going to accident and emergency and still have to wait 10 and 14 hours. They can talk what they like. The experience of Barbadians is that when they go into the accident and emergency, they have to wait very long to get service. A man waited a whole day to get admitted onto a ward. It isn't right. And you can't let people stand up and say that they're doing a wonderful job when the length and the breadth of the country knows that the hospital is in shambles. It's in a state. And that is not a political statement. That is a statement of fact. Barbadians can tell you that. They know that because they go to the hospital every day. Those who use it feel it. And those who feel it know it. And I want to tell you that those who know it need to speak it. You cannot allow something like that to go unchallenged, to let somebody walk about thumping their chest saying they're doing a good job when you know that the fundamentals that we really need change. Yes, it is nice to have the electrical upgrade. Yes, it's nice to have the records put on computer. Yes, it is nice to have the portico built. But those three things do not change the quality of everyday care for patients in Barbados. There are issues in the sterilization unit. There are issues in the kidney unit. And people need to know about these things. And we need to raise our voices and we need to speak out on this matter. Otherwise, that evil will continue to flourish under the sun. And every time you let someone get away with doing something and they get a pass on it, they are emboldened to go on and do worse. They become more careless. They don't feel they have to be accountable to you. They feel that they can do anything and then come and tell you anything, fool you, and walk away smiling and chuckling behind their hand because they have nothing but contempt for you. And this government, the Democratic Labour Party government, is contemptuous of Barbadians. Never, ever, ever. I cannot even imagine in which world that the Barbados Labour Party could treat to the CLICO policy holders in the way that the Dems have dealt with them, and that this place would not have been in an uproar. When I listen to the pronouncements of Chris Sinclair with regards to CLICO, all I am hearing is that there really is no genuine intention to quickly do anything about the situation with the CLICO policy holders. Up to the other day, you didn't see him in the paper having a drink with Leroy Paris again? Huh? And then have the liver gall to speak ill of June Fowler. And what did June Fowler did? She spoke up. What did she do? She spoke up. Something that all of us need to do about the various things that are happening in our country. We need to speak up, and we need for our country to bring up a set of champions, people who will have a fire in their belly that says, look, I will stand on this matter. I will speak up on this matter. I will become a warrior or champion for this matter, because enough is enough and we must not tolerate it. This is the first time when I stop to think about it, it makes my blood boil. How do you unfair a set of policy holders and turn around and blame them for the results? You have a government that said to people that the company is sound. You were advised not to take your money out. And now that the thing is in jeopardy, they're saying, daft for lick you. That is your fault. You take a risk, it didn't pay off. We ain't doing anything about it. How can you do that? How can you say that when they raise their voice about the fact that you took years before you put in judicial management, God knows what was happening in that company with the assets while they were not being monitored and controlled. You did not put in the judicial management. But now you want to turn around and vilify the very policyholders that are insisting you need to give us back our money. It is wrong. It is an evil. And those of us who are not affected by it, it does not mean we should not speak out. We should raise our voices with them, because you do not know when it will be your turn. You don't know when you will have to wear that shoe. You don't know when you have to feel the pinch. You don't know when you will have to walk that mile. You don't know if it will be your child that will have to have some situation that needs rectifying. And when you turn to your fellow citizens for help, that they stay mum and say nothing. It is wrong. And I'm saying to you, it does not matter which political party it is. It does not matter which company it is. It does not matter who is perpetrating a wrong against the citizens of Barbados. It is time for us to get up and speak out. Do not hold back. Let people know that you are watching. Let them know that you are not foolish. Let them know that you are not sleeping. Let them know that they cannot mamagai you, but you have to rise up and speak out whenever you see evil flourishing. Because if you say nothing, it will only get worse. I've never seen evil get better by itself. Have you? No. It only gets better if good people get up and speak out. And I want to challenge you to do that tonight. You have to get up and say something. Doesn't matter what it is. Use Facebook. Use the call-in programs. Wherever it is, you have to get up and speak out. It is the only way to get a better tomorrow. If we fail as a people to get up and speak the truth, here is what will happen to us. Any and everybody will be able to step forward and say they want to run for political office. And any and everybody could come in. Then you will never know what type of government to expect. You could find yourself with a very lousy government as you have now. Because we don't send the right signals to the political directorate. We have to send the signal that we are looking for people who can perform. We're looking for people who are strategic in their thinking. We're looking for people who come forward with the necessary skills to lead us effectively. It is time for us to stop playing with our democracy, because this is a serious hour. If it is one thing I'm hoping that we have learned out of this experience over the last 5 years is this: who governs matters. It matters who runs the country. You cannot give the country to people by turns. We're not playing in the schoolyard with swings and giving people turns at being in the swing. Government is a serious matter. It is life and death to citizens. It is the difference between poverty and wealth. It's the difference between health and illness. It's the difference between peace of mind and stress. It's the difference between freedom and imprisonment. Who governs matters. And once we start to send the signal to people who come to political office and say to them, when you come to govern, you have to perform, you have to do well, you will see that our political groups will attract better and better qualities of people so that we can have better and better government. But the only people who can guarantee that is you, the public, you, the citizen. And I want to urge you, this election is probably one of the most serious that we will ever have in our life. For the first time, Barbadians are contemplating changing a government after one term. What that says to me is that the Barbadian public is maturing. The Barbadian public is growing up politically. They're beginning to recognize that it is not just about party affiliation and it's not just about turns. It is about performance and competence. And I want to congratulate you for wanting to take that step. I applaud and salute you for that growth and maturity, because it will protect our democracy down into the future. So come February 21st, you have to do two things for me. The people in St. Michael, especially those in Northwest, I want you to make sure that Mr. Sinclair has his walking papers. Give him his walking papers. Here in St. Michael Central, I want you to give Steve Blackett his walking papers, because I understand that there's a job waiting for him down by the riverside. We don't want him to be late for the job before somebody else gets it. So send him with swift dispatch down to the riverside. Make sure he gets a job. He has a family. We want to make sure he can eat. I want you over in St. Michael West. Mr. Carrington, he has been quite an experience as a speaker in the House of Assembly, quite an experience for us. Please give him the opportunity to get a new job. Send him home with swift dispatch. Let him go and look for another job. Any of you out there that has anything that you think he could do, please offer it to him, because after February 21st, he will need one. Make sure that he gets swift dispatch. And the good people of St. James South, let me see where you are. St. James South. I ain't hearing St. James South where you are. All right. In St. James South, we are going to send Mr. Donovan back to his private practice. Let him go and practice the things that he likes doing. Let him go, and I would prefer if he did it off of our shores. Don't do it here. There's too much evil under the sun. Too much evil under the sun, and we must speak out. And in St. James South, we are going to give him his walking papers. Send him into retirement. So February 21st is a date with destiny. It is a date for every single Barbadian. I am asking every one of you to pledge tonight, 6 o'clock in the morning, get up, go out and vote. When 10 o'clock, let us have 3/4 of the vote already in the bag.